Woo, yay. Hello and welcome to another Industry Live Tuesday. I'm ThatKimberly.
And I'm Sochi.
Yes, and we want to welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. We are here live sharing all things multifamily and bringing as much valuable information to you as humanly possible. And today we are going old school and bringing back an industry veteran that is going to be talking to us about diversity and marketing. And her name is Melissa Foley. Before we get to that,
Yes, we're
Sochi's going
super
to run
excited.
in through some stuff for us.
I'm so excited to hear Melissa. And again, we're live from Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter. So wherever you're watching, make sure to hit that subscribe and or notification button so you know when we go live. And the goal really of these weekly lives is to provide as much value to the audience with as humanly as possible. Sharing is caring. So if you've had a similar experience, how did you handle it or solve the situation? So ask questions, leave it in the comments. If you watch on replay, tell us where you're watching from. And if you found value in this episode, please share that with a friend.
Awesome. Thank you. And without further ado, I need to get some music on here. We welcome Melissa Foley.
Hey, friends.
Hey. And thank you, Monica.
Hi,
Morales.
Monica.
Hey, Melissa, how are you doing?
Hi, great to be with you guys. Greetings from Cape Town.
Yeah. What time is it over there?
It is happy hour. 5 o'clock.
It's still
Truly,
breakfast.
it's happy hour somewhere.
Exactly.
I'm like, not there yet.
Yeah. No, not yet. Well,
When you say it's 5 o'clock somewhere, it really is.
It is, yeah. Well, we appreciate you so much for joining us. I was super excited that we could make this work and time zones and all and schedules. So fill folks in at a high level of your story, your background, things of that sort.
Sure. So Kimberly and I go way back, as I do with many multifamily folks, but about a decade or so ago, I had my early eat, pray, love midlife crisis and decided that I was going to jump off the corporate hamster wheel. And as much as I love the multifamily industry and literally family that I still keep in contact with and still connected with, I just had an inner drive and passion that something was calling me beyond corporate America. So I've been teaching English in Spain for many years. And on a flight one day, I decided that I needed to be living abroad. And I decided to sell everything I own and bought a backpack and bought a one-way ticket to Madrid with no plane to go teach English. And 10 years later, 82 countries later,
Wow.
it's been an
82.
interesting journey. And I just decided that I would take all of my marketing, business development skills, life skills, corporate skills. Multifamily, we know we wear so many hats doing everything, which is the greatest teacher of life and humans and dealing with humans and everything that comes with that. And just find a way to go help people and the environment and do what I could. And it's just been the most incredible experience. And about 5 or 6 years ago, I found kind of a hole in the market, if you will, and still wearing that corporate America hat, found a way to kind of use that skill set to help coach and streamline and help small businesses market and target their tourism businesses to international travelers and how to have a competitive advantage and how to market themselves differently, but still with having the importance of true meaningful impact for social and environmental causes and initiatives, integrating that all together. And me just being the social butterfly and
That you
queen little
are.
that I am, finding a way to kind of link the needs of everybody and bring it all together so that everyone is collaborating and everybody benefits and wins. And so, yeah, that's here we are.
So for context, for those who are not necessarily as up to date on this very important, you know, hole in the market, like you call. But we need a definition. We need an example of what corporate social responsibility looks like.
Well, it is a bit of a buzzword that I think is probably overused and not really
Okay.
understood. So, for me, I would say, in a practical standpoint, regardless of the industry that you're in, and whether it's you as a business or you as a consumer, I think it's any company or any brand that's doing a practical, but most importantly, a meaningful effort and impact, that you're looking at your business, your operations, your supply chain, to integrate social and environmental best practices, and then that's the way that you're messaging that, you're storytelling to your consumers.
Yeah, it
Because at
trickles
the
down.
end of the day, I mean, with everything that's happening globally, we're so polarized, and it's just so overwhelming. The news is just so negative, and it's just so daunting, and we just don't know where to start. So whether you're looking to make a difference on a macro level or on a micro level, I mean, we're all underestimating the power that each of us have as consumers. I mean, the influence that our wallets have. So the choices that we're making, where we're shopping locally, supporting local businesses, I mean, it really makes a huge difference on the brands and the businesses that we're supporting. So for me, being currently in Africa and working in the tourism sector, I'm trying to navigate that landscape and showing the businesses and the travelers and the tourists and all of those along the way as part of the food chain, how each of them play a role to integrate that, and how along the way they can actually be doing little bits along the way to be helping the community and to be helping the people and to be helping the planet.
Yeah.
What give a simple example of like you said, you hit the word tourism. When somebody comes there, if you were to see someone do X, what would you tell them?
Sure. So look, and just to clarify, a lot of people have good intentions. It's just a matter of creating awareness and education, because
Hmm.
people don't know what they don't know. So
Correct.
first and foremost, there's definitely a need for travel professionals and for agents abroad, right? I mean, we have travel agents that are in the US and the UK and Europe that are important and so forth. But again, this still goes down to supporting local, shopping local.
Okay.
So, if you have the opportunity to book directly with a local operator in a country, that money is going directly in the country and supporting a small business in a country.
Got
When
it.
you're booking with a third party company, then they get commissions and markups, and they're only paying a wholesale rate to their supplier in the country. So, the money doesn't really trickle down
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah.
So,
So
but then,
is that
sorry.
something is that something you already knew, or did you have to learn or pick up, just kind of
Well,
give back to them and keep them
yeah,
informed?
yeah. I mean, look, this is capitalism. This is consumerism, and not to diminish the role of like travel agents and travel professionals, because they do a lot of important marketing, and they put a lot of resources and times, and they're the ones that hold your hands when things go wrong. So they do play an important role. But it's a matter of knowing like what you're paying for. So if you're going to book a trip to, say, Tanzania, for example, and that trip is, for two people, say it costs, this is just a ballpark for rough numbers, it's going to cost $20,000 is the actual cost of your trip. But if you go
Mhm.
through some fancy high-end luxury,
Not
ex-
local. Not local.
yeah, not local company that
Right.
has, big fancy swag and corporate offices in New York or something. And then
Yeah.
that same trip, you might pay $35,000. That
Got it.
extra, you're paying more. And you may think that you're getting peace of mind because you don't know the company and country, but that money's not trickling down to that local supplier in the country, and you're paying more. So it's just a matter of like doing a little bit more research.
Yeah.
So again, it's just knowing like where's the line, when what's excessive and what's reasonable, if
Yeah.
that makes
Got it.
sense.
Great. I
And then
really like the fact that you're giving back and keeping everybody informed and just educated, and again, just helping people that had no clue, like, hey, this is, I mean, because you even mentioned it earlier, you're like, yeah, it's capitalism, but still, I mean, there's still a lot of people that, they have no clue. That's their passion. That's what they want to do. But the fact that you can just tell them like, hey, you can take it even further. And do you even realize what it is that you have, and how we can focus that towards you versus, something more corporate, so I think that's great. Yeah.
And then I think more practical for the travelers is as an example for tourism
Right.
is, people have good intentions and they think like, oh, I'm going to go travel, and this happens a lot, especially for people going to developing countries. They have this like idea that, oh, I'm going to a poor country. Let me go to Target and go shopping and buy notebooks and pens and pencils and school supplies. And those are very good intentions. And they get big bags of candy and they bring them. And so, but they don't realize the knock-on effect that happens in these countries. Like Tom's shoes is a great example. You buy a pair and then they donate a pair. But what actually happens is that you're disenfranchising the local businesses and shopkeepers in those countries. So it's better to actually, if you want to do good, ask somebody locally in country, what are the needs of those in the local communities that I can do to support and help? And then you buy those notebooks or you buy those pens and pencils at a local shopkeeper there, and you identify, a local program or a school that is in need of that. Buying candy and giving them to local kids, it makes
not
you
good.
feel, but those kids probably don't have access to dental care. And so when you have all these tourists coming through hundreds and hundreds a day, giving, these kids are associating foreigners with candy and just throwing candy from vehicles out, and
bringing what we know here, right? Because Halloween's like right around the corner. Kids love this.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Get it. Yeah, that's great.
The fact that you bring up the, and I know that for me, I'm just gonna, like, I always get perplexed about like, well, is this a legitimate company, whether, especially when it's local, right? Well, one, Google is our mother, right? And two, the other thing is that if we, reaching out to people like you that know the area, right? Like I would, 82 countries, I'd absolutely go and talk to you and many others, on my social media, but especially you, because I can just, I can dial your phone number, right? But the other thing is Charity Navigator is a website that aggregates all these, right, that are, and it shows what they're doing, so maybe using resources like that, would you not say, is that helpful? Has that been something you found?
That's a good question. And that actually segues to a comment question that Carla has here. So
Yes.
Charity Navigator is great because, but I think that tends to be more US focused organizations. And not necessarily global. And so something like fair trade certified products that Carla's asking. So there are multiple certifications labels and products that you can use. Now, something like fair trade's great. Like their requirements and their process is great. But fair trade and Rainforest Alliance, which is another one that I love, which is great. The problem with that is it's very expensive. It's very labor intensive. And so it creates a lot of barriers for a lot of, especially in the agricultural sector, for a lot of small entrepreneurs and farmers and businesses that just don't have the financial means and resources to get it. So unless you get grants from government agencies or private donors, it eliminates a lot of small grassroots organizations that are probably the most desperate for recognition or support. So
then how do we find those?
Well, that's just it, is that this is where I come in. So this is kind of what the hole in the market that I found is that being out in the field, seeing these legitimate, real meaningful impact organizations, I'm trying to connect them with the tourism businesses, these tour operators, these lodges, these hotels, and these camps, and getting them to integrate into their supply chain and into their business operations to support them. And together they tell the story to their travelers and their tourists so that the locals can support the locals together and then create awareness to the travelers, because otherwise they just don't have access to the global market.
That's
Wow.
beautiful. So, what would you say? What sparked this passion for you? Because I
Um,
honestly,
You
you're
feel it.
educating. I know a lot of people out there, probably watching us live. I don't think they had a clue. At least I didn't. So,
yeah.
you're
Well,
doing.
originally, my original inspiration came from like being in multifamily and being in sales. And again, love the multifamily, but being in sales. And I think I just got a bit jaded with just how kind of commercialized the sales industry became, and on being on the supplier side, just how excessive and competitive it got, like just trying to wine and dine the clients and just seeing these extravagant efforts and parties and dinners and these at NAA and at these functions, the amount of money that was being spent and on clients trying to win business and for nothing. And so it just at a certain point it was turning my stomach. And I had gotten involved in some of the philanthropic outreach, which many of the associations across the country did. And I was in Phoenix at the time. And there was a little bit of a momentum between us on a national level, a group of us that were very socially and politically minded that said, hey, we're in housing. What's an obvious correlation in being in housing and the homeless? And so some of the affiliates across the country had reached out to help homeless and homeless families. And so I had just relocated from Chicago to Phoenix and got involved with the Arizona Multi-Housing Association and had really kind of took the initiative and got active with that. And the more I got involved with those efforts, the more conflicted I got with what I was doing. And that's
Mhm.
what sparked me to like leave and to go abroad and to do this. And then the more I was traveling and, kind of getting involved, and I could see this theme because, tourism is universal and global.
Mhm.
And I could see just how the locals were being exploited no matter where I was. If I was in Thailand, if I was in India, if I was in Costa Rica, if I was in Tanzania, it didn't matter. I mean, there was just a general, the environment was being exploited, the people were being exploited. And I thought, okay, like where's the hole in this market to like
Mhm.
create public awareness for the travelers? And then where's the incentive for the businesses to engage and to create incentives for the travelers to do better? And so putting the marketing hat on to create these incentives and then to use the marketing skills to create, because it's competitive, like, it's a
Mhm.
competitive advantage, right? So how do you differentiate yourself from your competitors? CSR, but like legitimate CSR and not greenwashing. Don't just tell a story, oh, we're the good guys because we do this, like really have
Right.
meaningful impact. And
Really
this is how.
explain it to them. Yeah, really break
Yeah.
it down to them and yeah, educate them. So, and then this is probably a random question too. Maybe go ahead. So, have you picked up any of the language? How do you communicate with them? Because I know it's like sometimes you mentioned Costa Rica, so that's Spanish, and
So
you usually
fortunately,
have a
English
translator.
is very universal. I
Okay,
have
just kidding.
enough
English it
I have
is.
enough Spanish or French to get me in or out of trouble, which I can do that quite well on my own. I've picked up some pretty good conversational Greek, and my Swahili is actually quite good. So yeah,
Oh,
so yeah,
So you're basically living what Maya Angelou said, be the change you want to see.
yeah,
That's what I got
yeah.
from.
Well, I
yeah.
do tattoo on my neck, so hopefully I'm trying.
You're
But that's a
definitely
conversation.
inspirational, Melissa. I love hearing this. I'm
Yes.
definitely going to be sharing this for the people who weren't able to join us live. But yeah,
But
that's
we did have Akir stop by and say hello along with
Yeah,
Stephanie.
thank
She'll be on
you.
in a couple of weeks. And Mr. Bellick.
Hi,
Um,
all my peeps.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So just for the sake, tell us like what are some top three takeaway things that we need to be mindful of when either taking in that marketing or doing any kind of global marketing.
Okay, so my advice, no matter where you're going, please, 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 animal welfare, human, wildlife, and animal interactions are never, ever, ever, ever okay, no matter what they tell you. They are not a sanctuary. They are not doing it for research. If a facility anywhere lets you touch, hold, or interact
Right.
with a wild
Mhm.
animal, it is not okay. And this is a very good example because, like, again, like we tell ourselves what we want to hear. So, riding an elephant or swimming with a dolphin, and you think, oh, I'm just one person. You're not just one person. You think you're one person, but that's what everyone thinks. And that's why there's an industry that exists. And these animals are so badly treated and so exploited. And if the animals are exploited, I promise you, the people that are treating them and looking after them are exploited as well.
Oh my
So that's
gosh. Stephanie and Kira, of course, is a big component, of
I'm always on this.
yeah.
Second of all, be very mindful of the exploitation of children. So these like orphanage tours and like schools, no legitimate facility is going to let travelers or tourists tour orphanages or tour skills
They
because
have that? That's so weird.
everywhere. Oh my gosh, it's terrible because it's so profitable because people
Wow.
come again, people have good intentions and they mean well and they think, oh gosh, these poor starving children and let me go help. And so psychologically, physically, it is so dangerous for the welfare of these children. So no legitimate organization anywhere in the world is ever going to let strangers interact with children. They are far too vulnerable. It is not okay. And I'll forward some websites and some links of international organizations like the Code and a few other ones that you guys can post on the links that you can check and you can research for some of these organizations and some tips of the do's and the don'ts and red flags to look for.
Perfect. Yeah.
And then third, I mean, I'm always very happy to give advice if anyone is traveling and the do's and don'ts, but just try to use a little bit more just common sense. Just ask yourselves, is this hurting or helping the local community? Like, can I buy these things in country? There's this whole initiative that started, I think it was US based, where people could save their little hotel shampoo bottles of shampoos and conditioners. And I mean, we're all road warriors and multifamily, right? So you could save those. And then people were saying to bring those when they were traveling to developing countries to donate them to people there. God, no, please do not do that. Most of these countries do not have recycling facilities. So all you're encouraging is people to bring their plastic rubbish over to developing countries for small amounts of shampoo and like of chemicals to pollute, especially in these islands, where most of these small businesses are selling and trying to create businesses of like natural fruits and herbs of their own businesses. If you collect those shampoo bottles from your hotels and stuff, donate them to your local homeless shelter or domestic violence shelter. Those are the people that are in need of those things. Do not take your plastic waste to foreign countries and dump it off onto them. There are other things.
There's actually a multifamily nonprofit that collects them. And Hatching Hope, they collect. I would send my year's worth of travel soaps and because they provide for people, but like you said, homeless shelters and battered women, human trafficking. Like I can name so many other organizations that could use those here in the United States. But that is great information. What you need to have like an aggregated site that for free that allows these businesses to be on there, and then just run advertising on it as the let me help you with that, Mel. I'll do it for free for you.
I'm the last to advocate for myself, but yes, okay, that's a good tip. I'll add that to my to-do list.
Because really it comes because there are some, but what about all the companies you don't get to meet, right? What about all the people that are without that you didn't, your paths did not cross for whatever reason, right? It doesn't mean that those small, businesses and people are any less than, right? But if there was a way that people could go and upload their information and you validated it, you made sure that they got the Foley 5-star approval. I mean, I feel like a lot of the people that, that have known you, it's like that common ground. Oh, Foley. Okay. You must be all right. Right. Like you're not like it's a common good, right? That we feel. And you should be able to do that on a global level by letting people upload their information.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and look, I just had some friends. We have mutual friends that
Yeah.
they wanted, especially for Africa, because I know all the travel operators in Africa, because I've been here for 8 years now. So, people are always saying, "Oh, my dentist or my neighbor wants to go to Africa. Can I introduce you? And can you give them
Mm-hmm.
some tips and advice and So I'm very happy to do that. And then, of course, I know people from all these travel and tourism shows. So always very happy. And I mean, I kind of have a sniff test as well. And if I don't know, I know someone who knows someone. So, but yeah, no, there's a need.
A sniff test is right. So
Well, yeah, you kind of
That's what I
know.
was going to say. I was like, do you ever recruit? Like, there should be a lot of Melissas out there
yeah,
everywhere.
mini Melissas. Well,
There are,
there
yeah,
are.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm just gonna. So it's a good segue into what you're doing now. I'm gonna let I just wanted to bring this up. Your
Oh, thank
website all about Africa, but let you explain, what you're doing now.
Yeah, so yeah, it basically, I mean, yeah, if people want advice on on travel advice and the do's and don'ts, and particularly on advice on when and where and who to travel with in Africa, I'm very happy to facilitate those introductions and give you advice and point you in the right direction, and then just general like tips and practices of the do's and don'ts of yeah, how to do good and no harm when you travel abroad. So
Do
you
they
can
do
follow.
they pay you? Is it for a fee? Do they pay you for get out of jail card? Like,
No, no, not necessarily. So the operators that I know are people that I obviously know personally and know that their impact is good locally. So obviously I don't refer anyone that I don't know directly. And so they normally
refer-
work with agents, and so they get wholesale rates. And so what happens is that at the end of the year, any referrals I send them, they give me like a referral fee. But they're
awesome.
anyone I refer, your rates are going to be what you pay is exactly what you would pay if you went to them directly. So it's not like
Got it.
you're going to pay any more because I referred
Yeah,
you. So
you're just gonna
it's
get the
more like
Foley. Yeah,
a
you're gonna
travel.
get this. Got it. So
Yeah,
so
you just
you're basically done. Yeah, the stamp of approval. You've done the due diligence.
yes,
Like you said, you know somebody that knows somebody. If you don't know those people, and it is that sounds like multifamily all over again to me, right?
exactly.
Like we ask
Yeah.
we ask
Yeah.
our friends, our colleagues, our clients, what do you think about this? How do you feel? And or somebody who's been through it. It is definitely a wise. I absolutely tell everybody I know that's traveling, overseas and going to your country. I'm all, oh yeah, friend her on Facebook and send her a message and tell her I told you.
Yeah. Yeah. And also too, if anyone is looking for advice on like just traveling abroad for volunteering and like,
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, not that I expect anybody to just pack up and sell everything they own and like, go live in
Why
a tent
not?
on in Greece. If you wanted to, I could give you advice. But, even if you were just looking for like a couple weeks or 2 weeks, and, this whole digital nomad trend is going global. There are 38 countries that are offering digital nomad visas, and when people are able to work remotely now, if you ever wanted tips and advice, I'm very happy to speak to people on like, how to navigate those logistics and systems to speak to
hmm
about that. And then if people are looking for like really meaningful, worthwhile organizations and charities and Europe or India or Africa or wherever that wanted to donate to, where they know they could have really significant impact, I'm very happy to give advice on that as well.
yeah. That's awesome. That is a plethora of knowledge. If you don't feel like going to the Googler and Googling it,
Yeah.
because Google is our mother. But
And
it
just
does help. What?
yeah,
Go ahead.
and just to put a plug, just to say, a lot of these charities have U.S. affiliates that are
Mhm.
501(c)(3), so you can get tax deductions as well for, since we're approaching the end of the year, just slide that in for you.
Yeah. It's always a good thing to give. And I think there was a quote by I don't remember what founder that said, nobody ever goes broke by giving,
Exactly
um,
true.
which I truly believe that as well. But we appreciate you so much, Mel. We definitely, if people want to connect with you, how can they do so?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. I think you're going to share the links.
Hmm.
LinkedIn. My email address is definitely the best way to get me. And feel free, any questions you have or advice you need, I'm very happy to assist.
Yes, you
I
are.
love it. I love it.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
you are being the change you want to see, and I want to be like you when I grow up, for sure.
Same, same.
It's
You taught me so much. I hope we can have you on again.
Yeah.
yes. It will
I-
definitely pick the topic, and
yeah.
you always have an open invite, because it is something that we need to, as human beings, right? And then
Or
second,
traveling 101 or something,
yeah,
right? Traveling 101, 101.
business.
Yeah.
I was just going to share too. If you want some links, there's a lot of like social enterprise projects that make cool, like either handmade goods or bracelets. You know, we're always looking for swag for trade shows, and everyone goes online and buys, you know, junk from China that obviously has terrible social and environmental impacts. So, you know, there's some cool social development projects. So if people were looking for some like meaningful, cool, high quality gifts that they wanted for their trade shows or corporate gifting or client gifting, I'm happy to share some links too where people could order stuff and then they can easily export to the US as well. So
Send
just something else.
those to me, and then I'll put them in the YouTube description, and then we can share them on some of their comments on Facebook and LinkedIn.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Please do that.
Please
Thanks.
do. Thank you so
Yes.
much, Melissa. I'm so happy we had you on. And then for the audience out there, tell us if you ever found yourself in the same situation, and what did you do? Or again, make sure to ask Melissa a question if you have any questions for her. And then for everyone out there who's watching on replay, tell us where you're watching from with hashtag replay. And again, yeah, we're so happy to have you. Thank you so much. And I hope we get to hear from you again very soon, Melissa. Thank you.
Thanks, ladies. Thanks,
Yes,
everybody.
we appreciate you all, and remember, next week we'll have a Stephanie. No, Stephanie's coming on in November, but we'll have a Stephanie Ayler in November, the 8th. Next week is a secret that y'all have to tune in for. But if you want to be a guest, you can either email us at the email address there, or go to our resource link. Yes, Metro Cool. It's a Metro Bio Industry Live, and you'll have some resources there that are free, as well as you can sign up for our newsletter. You can watch wherever you want to watch from, and yeah, connect with us. But we appreciate you very much, Melissa, and we appreciate everyone for joining us today. Thank you guys for everyone who stopped in, watched on the replay. Yes, look, Stephanie, we look forward to it. Now Melissa, to put it on your calendar for 5 p.m. your time that day. I'll send it to you. So yes. Thank you guys.
Everybody.
Remember, hashtag sharing is caring, and mean people suck. So have a great week. Bye, y'all.
Be the change.
Bye.